Well, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to this happy hour number 70, our 70th show, this June 28, 2024. JT here on behalf of the Ethfinance Community on Reddit, and thanks again to the EVMavericks for hosting this happy hour for this blessed day. Give us a thumbs up and smash the bell if you haven't already. We're going to have kind of an abbreviated show. We have no guests today. We also have no POAP today. Due to unforeseen circumstances, but don't worry, it is not the end of the world if you don't get that POAP. So dailydoots.com is also not updated as a result, and that's okay. So we're going to run with it, and we're going to use the A-words list from the daily today. But before we do that, let's do our intro. The Weekly Doots live stream is all about showcasing the best of the best from the week on Ethfinance Community on Reddit. This is a read-along reaction series, but not today. You can read along if you want to. Check out the A-word on the daily. And let's see, we're going to have this podcast minted after the show. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, a number of different sources. And we will make the podcast mintable on Optimism, thanks to pods.media. Find us there after the show later on at pods.media/EVMavericks. And if you're watching this stream on Discord and you're watching my streaming window, go ahead and be sure to mute that window. And as always, if you know someone who wants a piece of this action, send them my way. So we'll go through the rich list from last week because last week was number 69. And let's see, we got the... I missed the... Where's the rich list from last week? Am I blind? Oh, it's at the top here. That's right. I am blind. Obviously well prepared. Boom, 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 boom. Here we go. Let's do the rich list from last week. It still needs updated. The top three from last week: Benito 2030 at 128, Logary the Bard at 132, and Super Fizz at 201. All right, very good. Let's go ahead and hit our Trinity real quick. Someday It's Dark chimes in. Ethereum, Tim Buck9, who is also a duder number 1 this week. Actually, I gave him his point today. Chimes in with the ratio at 0.056. And Frank the Tank at $3,447.89. And Uses Bink Video has us at 90,000 hodlers subscribed. That is up 5 from the last time he reported. Our haiku of the week, provided by JS Tears. How does he do it? Ditch the politicians over mathematicians. Trusted technicians. JS Tears, how do you do it? And the Chota says, ETH, take my energy. Can you believe this guy? He's been at this for years. ETH, take my energy. The Clam Chota. And the shit of the week, because we like to start with the best for first. Wow, this one's the A-word. A poem for Ray. Imprisoned in squalor, like a rat in the cage, a rocket ignition explodes into rage. Beacon chains cut with mocking intent, decentralized humans with anger to vent. To offer a dream, but a nightmare ensues. To build one's hope, then stack up dues. To protect the weak, dissolve the trust, set a foundation free of greed and lust. This rat is a fighter. The worm always turns where once there was apathy, pride returns. The lesser will rise with fear as their friend from the sewer of cycles, bulls only ascend. To offer a dream of somewhere to run, to build up hope with a block of fun, to trample the good and the decent within, is to set up a struggle no troll can win. Ray is a lover and killer entwined. To be an extreme is to conquer the blind. Where one coin falls, another now stands ready to flip with blood on his hands. Holy Nikes, that's a banger, dude. A-word, great job, my man. Fantastic. All right, it looks like we have Wolf Parking, Alexis KEF, Tricky Troll, Super Fizz, Harog, Jebediah Colon, the Cryptos and Bloods, Oyuro Kimono, and Charitable Chair, and PA7X1, and finally Harog rounds out our Doots of the week. Let's get into this. All right. So Wolf Parking outlines what is in the Pectra upgrade. Here's your improvements, Wolf Parking reports, EIP 3074. This proposal aims to integrate smart contract capabilities into standard wallets, allowing users to batch transactions and sign them off in a single step. It could replace the current EIP 3074 with EIP 7702, enhancing account abstraction compatibility. Also included EIP 7251 Max EB. It will increase the staking limit for validators from 32 ETH to 2,048 ETH, which is expected to streamline the staking process for larger entities and reduce the rate at which new validators join the network. That's interesting. That seems actually pretty big, doesn't it? Peer data availability sampling, or peer DAS. This feature is designed to scale layer 2s and improve the efficiency of data storage on the network immensely. Next, EVM object format, or EOF, will enhance smart contract security and the developer experience for the Ethereum virtual machine on both layer 1 and layer 2. Here are the implications for the future, Wolf Parking continues. Network performance, staking dynamics, smart contract development, and the overall user experience. And on the user experience side, he writes, simplifying transactions is one of those game-changing features. As few clicks as possible to the end goal for the average person could lead to better onboarding of the average non-crypto savvy person. And that is by way of Wolf Parking, a Deuter level number 27. Alexis Kef has a breaking non-crypto news story. Hey, no idea if this was posted yesterday, but I'll post it here anyway, as it is way too important to slip between the cracks. Julian Assange is free. This is a quote. He left Belmarsh maximum security prison on the morning of 24 June after having spent 1,901 days there. He was granted bail by the High Court in London and was released at Stansted Airport during the afternoon, where he boarded a plane and departed the UK. This is the result of a global campaign that spanned grassroots organizers, press freedom campaigners, legislators, and leaders from across the political spectrum all the way to the United Nations. This created a space for a long period of negotiations within the U.S. Department of Justice, leading to a deal that has not yet been formally finalized. We will provide more information as soon as possible. After more than 5 years in a 2x3 meter cell, isolated 23 hours a day, good God, he will soon reunite with his wife Stella Assange and their children, who have only known their father from behind bars. WikiLeaks published groundbreaking stories of government corruption and human rights abuses, holding the powerful accountable for their actions. As editor-in-chief, Julian paid severely for these principles and for the people's right to know. As he returns to Australia, g'day, mate, we thank all who stood by us, fought for us, and remained utterly committed in the fight for his freedom. Julian's freedom is our freedom. Okay. There are some other comments underneath there that are interesting. There's like two different lenses you can view him under, right? So, I mean, I won't get into it, but he's free. So there you go. Alexis KF, thanks for sharing that. All right. Tricky Troll discusses 3 types of crypto investors. Ooh, this will be good. Okay. I'm not sure why I haven't written about this before. By the way, Tricky Troll is a Deuter 104. But this is something I've noticed quite clearly over the years amongst almost everyone I know, and I can't really think of any exceptions to the rule. Basically, I've noticed that there is a spectrum of how deep down the rabbit hole crypto investors go, which is very strongly correlating to how financially successful they are with their crypto investments. In my experience, there are 3 types of people. There are, number 1, people who don't understand it, but buy some just in case. They hold it on an exchange or a basic cold wallet and listen to someone like you or me who just says buy ETH and forget about it. These people win in the long run because they spend no time in the ecosystem proper, and so don't get exposed to scams that don't check price enough or aren't overinvested enough to freak out when it crashes. Second type of person. People who see the potential to make the money and dive in, they get themselves overexposed to crypto financially because they see the upside. In an effort to get rich quick, they buy all sorts of shit coins, but they aren't crypto native enough to avoid scams and low quality projects. They're also overinvested and get panicked when the price crashes. These people lose in the long run due to chasing pumps and investing into scams and panic selling in the bear. And finally, number 3, crypto natives like us who dive in deep enough to take full advantage of the opportunity. Due to spending so much time in this space, we can identify scams and shitty projects so we can keep ourselves safe. We may be overinvested, but we know how not to lose irresponsible amounts, and we remain comfortable with our investments in the hardest of times because we know what Ethereum will be in 10 years or more. This is and always has been a long-term investment, despite what the explosive gains in a short time period often signal to normies. These people thrive because we know this space from the inside out. He goes on. Now, this last part was part of another comment I made directed at someone considering sending some friends who keep asking about shitcoins deeper in the ecosystem. He goes on. What you are doing is you're trying to push your investor number 1 type friends, remember these are the people that buy and don't care, into being investor 2 type friends, the ones that are chasing pumps. In my experience, investor type 3 friends would have already gone deep down the rabbit hole on their own accord because they're driven by more than just the financial opportunity. We thrive in the economic, technological, and social frontiers we are innovating on, but investor type 2 is still just here for the money and doesn't have the understanding or critical thinking skills to see when someone is trying to peddle bullshit to them. As a result, their keenness to make money gets exploited and they fall for scams because they're overwhelmed with FOMO when they're pitched the new hot shitcoin or the next big paradigm shift, shilled by crypto demagogues like Charles Hoskinson. So please, make sure that if your friends aren't sending themselves down the path towards being investor number 3, give them the least amount of information needed to remain safely in the number 1 class. I cannot begin to explain just how many times I've seen people get wrecked because they were investor number 2. Okay, good. I like this. I feel like I'm in the crypto native number 3 slot, but for whatever dumb reason, I keep listening to my brain instead of my gut sometimes. Case in point, I knew that I should have maybe taken a little bit of Rocket Pool off, switch it over to ETH, and then wait for the inevitable drop in order to buy back in, or at least, even back out a little bit and scrape some of that. Because, man, that's been tough watching the Rocket Pool token do what it's doing. But here we are. Hey, hello on YouTube. Welcome in, A-Word and Daver. I say Daver, DA3VR, and of course Logri the Bard. Very good, Tricky Troll. Excellent job. Super Fizz shares a new NFT project. Super Fizz is a duder 202. I've been talking with Leo Glisick about his new NFT project, Guardians of the Ether, or GOAT, G-O-T-E. Gosh, that's a great name. You can see the NFT from my Superfizz validator here. These NFTs have a couple of interesting properties. This is what it looks like. That's cool. Number 1, they can only be claimed by address who are confirmed as home stakers on the list developed by GLC Staked and refined by Leo Glisick. Home stakers broadly refers to solo stakers and Rocket Pool stakers in this case. Hey, that's cool. They are soul bound, so they'll never have any financial value. And number 3, they are upgradable. So as your validator is live on mainnet for increasing periods of time, the NFT levels up, giving it more credibility. If they're non-transferable, then what's the value in it? Superfizz goes on. It enables a new layer of Ethereum social governance. Governance developed around these NFTs could easily signal the hopes and dreams of stakers who closely represent the grassroots of Ethereum staking. Let's not inflate the role of stakers. I still regard them as people employed to secure the network, but they are people who have a deep commitment to the success of the platform. And his next bullet, it acts as a simple beacon for entities who want to easily airdrop to a highly regarded set of validators. I spoke with Leo at great length, and I'm very optimistic that this project is aiming in a good direction. And I further believe that he is doing this as a community service without a self-promotion angle. We're putting together a call scheduled around July 26 to launch the claims for these NFTs. If you'd like to participate in the release planning, let me know. Well, super Fizz, we should have him on the show if you're listening. That's wonderful. Oh, it looks like... okay, so I'm going to tag, I mean, you get to see this in real time. I'm going to tag, it's Leo Glissick, Guardians of the Ether, GOAT. So I'm going to make a tag right here live on the stream. We do this. Put his name in here. You can see, I'm going to save this as a tag on Reddit Enhancement Suite so we can pay attention to him as he grows. Very good. And I'm going to highlight him green and save the tag, and away we go. So now I know he's the man. Very good. All right. Yes, Reddit Enhancement Suite for the win. That NFT is pretty cool. Let's look at the collection real quick while we're at it. Is there a way I can do that from Etherscan? Inventory? I don't know. Yes. Wow. It's kind of like the all-seeing eye. Wow, look at this one. It's got like a triangle of truth. The Illuminati, my friends. It is alive on Ethereum. The deep state. Okay, moving on down. Harog. It looks like Harog made the Weekly Doots list twice. Harog is impressed with the new Neithermind upgrade. Duder 91. Neithermind released their newest version a few days ago. I just installed it, and wow, this thing is fast. In the last few hours before the upgrade, my block throughput was 98 megagas per second. I don't know if it's megagas or milligas. I think it's mega. It's a big M. After the upgrade, it does 324 megagas per second. It perfectly matches what they teased a few weeks ago. And they really did their test with consumer hardware as my NUC node perfectly matches their published results. The Neithermind team really delivers. This means faster block imports for your node, less CPU demand, and most importantly, fewer head misses if you run a validator. All in all, this is a great update. And he goes on from there. That's wonderful. Okay. Jebediah Colon addresses some things. Let's see what he addresses. Jebediah Colon is a duder number 7. To address some points that came up today, number 1, I'm pretty sure I've never seen Andrew Kang be right about anything. And I've seen a lot of his tweets pop up by now. Number 2, quote, crypto has no use cases, unquote. Boo, get better material. This FUD has been dumb since its inception and is colossally stupid now. You can do better, I'm sure. Number 3, regarding BlackRock and the ETFs. The way I think of it is not that we need them, but rather they or their investors desperately want to participate in the ecosystem, and the ETFs create an extremely easy way for the least sophisticated investors to do so. I fully agree with that. They miss out on a lot, but they also skip a lot of risks and still get exposure. It also gives us some armor against political risk by aligning us with vast constituents. I also agree with that. Finally, if one is passively invested in crypto, a sheer desire is to have one's investment win would have them rooting for us and hopefully embracing freedom and decentralization as a side effect. I don't know if they do. The alternative is an authoritarian panopticon. Wow, that's a nice word. I do share the concerns, and maybe I'm overly optimistic. Number 4, quote, the ratio is down since 2017. This is still more extremely weak FUD. Sure, there was a blow-off Pico top, but that only matters from the lost cherry pick starting point. It's pretty idiotic to talk about any trend from there one way or the other. The future matters more. If you want to do something with the ratio, at least make it forward looking. All right, and number 5, the Sybils have won. Should airdrops just be linear? And number 6, ETH, please take Clam Chowder's energy. Yeah, very good. I think these are some really good points that you made, Jebediah Colon. Yeah, the ETFs, the exposure, the ability to jump in, set it and forget it. It's easy to incorporate into a portfolio. Those fund managers are kind of doing their thing. They want it to win too. Very good. Excellent job. And let's see, moving down the list, the Cryptos and Bloods, I freaking love that name, has more from the fallout of the Terra Luna collapse. Oh, God. Here we go. The Cryptos and Bloods, Deuter number 46. In light entertainment around the fallout from the 2021 cycle, the head of Jump Crypto has announced today that he is leaving Jump and taking some time off and personal time to catch up on reading and other activities. This is, I am sure, entirely unrelated to the news last week that Jump Crypto is being probed by the CFTC, and to the deposition unsealed fairly recently where the SEC questioned Kariya, the Jump Crypto head. That's Kariya, Kariya. In the SEC's case against Terra Luna. And he repeatedly took the fifth, he pled the fifth on a bunch of questions relating to an alleged secret deal he made with Do Kwon after UST massively depegged in return for a lifting of the vesting on his Luna tokens. Weirdly, for reasons I cannot completely guess at all, the tweet announcing his departure is reply limited, and only people he follows can reply. Even though he has been constantly posting on Twitter for years about Jump and its activities, is there any big name still left untouched from the carnage of the 2021 cycle fallout, except Vitalik and Hell, maybe even Sailor? Not sure why more people are talking about this. Very interesting. Let's look at that tweet. I didn't know that you could have reply limited to only people that you follow. It says who can reply? Only accounts that they follow or mention can reply. Huh. Can't believe that stuff went on. 2021 was a crazy time. Okay, moving on down. We're almost done, folks. Oyuro Kimono has a new favorite Ethereum researcher. From Oyuro Kimono, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Deuter number 16. In his short time on the job, Mike Neuter, legend, has become my favorite EF researcher. Every article he posts pulls together multiple threads being proposed by other researchers and advances the discussion forward for the whole community. The fact they are continuing to recruit people like this illustrates what Sam Jernigan said in a recent Bankless. This is the highest functioning community along every dimension: integrity, intelligence, cooperation that he's ever seen. For whatever reason, I still remember when he was sort of introduced to the Layer Zero community. It was in one of the pre-merge ACD calls, and out of the blue, some senior person on the call asked Mike to weigh in. Mike said he was getting into a taxi cab at the moment and gave a rather short response. I remember thinking, why would people a couple of years into a project be consulting with a new onboard who is furthermore in a taxi, as if he's in the process of moving to a new town for his job? Yeah, Mike Neuter's name has popped up. I've heard that name a few times in some back channels. So Mike Neuter, Neuder, if you want to follow along. And that is brought to us by way of Oyuro Kimono, Deuter number 16. Moving on down the list, Charitable Chair, user Charitable Chair, Deuter number 7, finally figured out how to use DeFi web apps with a hardware wallet on mobile. He says, I won't read it verbatim. I don't want to get nuked on YouTube. GDF and hell, guys. I have finally solved the case on going computer free while staying crypto native. And he's paging a couple of other users, Technology Long 2714 and Root Taken, REUP taken. For those not aware, a select few of us have been exploring ways to access DeFi completely on mobile or iPad. Of course, it's no problem if you want to save your private keys on your phone, WTF, but if you want to be smart and use a hardware wallet, well, suddenly all of your options dry up. Why might you want to do this? Well, in my case, it's fairly niche, but I travel a ton. And thanks to my iPad mini, I basically don't need a computer anymore. But it's gotten to the point I'm lugging a laptop around just so I can connect my hardware wallet the once a month I'm collecting an airdrop or taking advantage of an arbitrage. Being able to do everything on mobile with a hardware wallet is the holy grail for me. Here's the TLDR. Get a Ledger Nano X and connect it to Rabby and use their Explorer browser. It's not pretty smooth, but it is fully functional. Thanks for the tip, Roop taken. Now, of course, you're going to be using a Ledger Nano X as that's all that's out there. That's fair. So start with that. I don't know if that's totally true. I wonder if Trezor, there's another company called Engrave that I think works for mobile. But anyway, I digress. In theory, you can connect your Nano X via Bluetooth and either use the native apps, which just loads up their in-app browser, or you can use Wallet Connect. I didn't see any way to navigate to a custom URL via their browser, so Wallet Connect is for 99% of use cases. Not only do the native apps barely work, if at all, but the Wallet Connect functionality is terrible. It makes you reconnect your ledger for every single signature. And half the time, the transaction or signature fails anyway. I was literally unable to make a swap on Uniswap with this method. Also, when it detects that your ledger firmware is out of date, it doesn't let you do anything until you update your ledger on a desktop. I would say this is not the future of France, but seeing where Ledger is headquartered, yikes. MetaMask Mobile, moving on. Ledger teamed up with MetaMask to add native support for the Nano X via Bluetooth with the MetaMask mobile app. This looks like it would be quite slick if it wasn't for one glaring problem, which is that MetaMask Mobile doesn't even ask you what type of address you have, whether it's legacy, etc. And so if you've been around for a while, then you'll have to move everything over to a new address and simply hope that all those years of activity don't lead to airdrops, which will now be inaccessible without a desktop. And finally, Rabby. We finally have some competence in this space. I think they've added support only a few months ago, but I've been able to do everything on my Nano X through the mobile Rabby app. They have an inbuilt browser, and it comes with all the Rabby features you know and love. Sure, it's still not as smooth as desktop, but I've been traveling with nothing but an iPad mini and a small backpack for a week now, and I can actually access my money. Mind-blowing. This post may come across as angry or sarcastic, but honestly, this little experiment has left me a little bit in shock. I'm surprised with all the mobile wallets and mobile-first development happening in crypto that you're an outlier as soon as you try to use crypto with a hardware wallet, which is best practice. The UI for all of this has been appallingly bad, and we are never going to get mainstream DeFi adoption if this is what the mobile space looks like. That being said, I'm still happy I can sell my laptop and go 100% computer free. And I paged Midnight on Mars, that is Justin LaRue from Grid Plus, if he had any recommendations on this front, but he has not responded as of 2 days ago. I don't know how much time he spends on Reddit, but there you go. I don't know if anybody in the audience has anything to add to this. I can't really extrapolate on where things are on the mobile front. It is sorely missing is some external physical way to do a transaction confirmation with a hardware wallet. Yeah, that 2024, you would think we would have figured something out. There must be a solution out there. We're just not sure of it. And then finally for this week, user Harog shares suspicious Solana stablecoin shenanigans. Good God, color me shocked. Harog is a duder number 91. I'm sure you're not tired of yet hearing from another mock chain and how well they're doing. So here's another snippet from Solana land. Solana had a massive surge in stablecoin volume over the last few months. It easily surpassed volumes of Tron and the Ethereum ecosystem. There were on-chain sleuths arguing that the majority of the volume is just a few addresses moving USDC amongst each other, which is most probably not organic usage, but done for KPI, also known as Key Performance Indicator manipulation. They were not heard, and proponents of Solana were proud of what they achieved with their ecosystem. Pop champagne. About 2 weeks ago, the Solana stablecoin usage dropped off a cliff from $70 billion daily volume to just $7 billion. Apparently, all the organic, air quote, users decided independently from one another not to use stablecoins on Solana anymore. This, again, is a reminder that KPIs can be easily manipulated, especially on very cheap blockchains. Ruthless actors did it for a long time and will do it as long as it is profitable. Solana is known for this behavior and apparently always finds new ways to do these manipulations. Here is a graph on the stablecoin volume. I broke the link to not get filtered. Let's see. Let me put that link back together for our friends, and let's open this bad boy up. Okay, so he says he did a graph. There's your graph. Okay, looks like going back over time. Yeah, and you can see just the cliff just straight down and to the right. Also, here's a Twitter link going a bit more conspiracy theory on that topic. Not saying they're wrong, just saying there's no proof of it. This is Wise Crypto on x.com. And then, okay. In short, they say it would be quite a coincidence that the CFTC announces they go after Jump Crypto and the stablecoin volume drops and the Jump Crypto boss leaves at the same time. For those who did not know Jump Crypto, they were the ones who stabilized UST and the Terra Luna system and kept it alive over months or so, that more and more retailers started using it, which then lost everything in that scam. I really hope Jump gets what they deserve, as I see them as one of the few real villains in the financial system. Most others are just low-level peddlers and scammers in comparison. And that wraps up the dudes for this week. I do want to go, I want to find this, I want to go to my profile on X because there was a Bankless thing that broke an hour ago. This is pretty good. I don't know if anybody's seen it. I haven't shared it to the daily, but Bankless is reporting breaking. The U.S. Supreme Court overturned something called Chevron deference. Quote, Chevron deference, unquote, is a U.S. administrative law that gives power to federal agencies ruling when a particular law is ambiguous. Okay, do you understand?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so this is overturned. The SEC and federal agencies no longer have rule-making ability. I think that is one of the biggest headlines of the year in all of this space. And I want to make sure that I made mention of this. So if you look at the Bankless x.com handle, they have, and they show who voted which way and all that stuff, but it doesn't matter. The Chevron deference is a big deal. It was allowing federal agencies the ability to rule when laws are ambiguous, and now that has been overturned. I think that's a pretty important tidbit of information. Okay. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. It's got to be a little bit short this week. I'm helping a family member move, and I told him I got an empty van and 2 working hands and 2 working feet, and it's time to help them out. So thanks for joining us today on Discord and on YouTube. We had quite a few people that came and went on YouTube. Glad to have you guys. I think we moved all the way up to 6, not just my mom this week. That's great. And there we go. Check us out at pods.media, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just search EVMavericks. And if you want to stick around here after the live stream, we continue the party in the hotel lobby on Discord for a bonus hour of popcorn. It's a fun place to let loose when the parents aren't watching on YouTube. Hi, Mom. On behalf of Ethfinance and the EVMavericks DAO, my name is JT. Cheers and big hugs from Kansas City. And boom goes the dynamite. Well, that was fun. Yeah, I think that bankless, that's big. I don't know how that's not big, but I feel like that is a death knell to, I don't know. It just seems like, man, once the ETF got
So
passed and it was
that
just unraveling.
had you